Hi teachers! Now in this video we're going to talk about assigning content and working towards mastery. We want students to get into a straightforward routine of following a roadmap of exercises at their own pace. And there's a delicate trade-off between wanting these exercises to intersect with your classroom instruction and wanting them to be at the right level so that students don't get stuck because they don't have enough of a foundation. So as students complete the workspaces within the roadmap, they'll be assessed on proficiency, and the goal is for students to show mastery in each workspace that they complete. Um, so there are going to be two main types of workspaces that students interact with. Like I said, these are the concept builders, which are usually shorter and they are assessed based on completion. And then you have the mastery workspaces, which are adaptive, and those are assessed for proficiency. So the goal is for students to complete all of the concept builders workspaces and then to show proficiency or near proficiency in all of the mastery workspaces within each unit. And we'll talk about what the units look like in a moment. So when we talk about proficiency in MATHia, on the screen you see the criteria for rating students proficient, near proficient, and remediation suggested. And it's really about how assessing the probability that students will be able to correctly execute that skill based on what they've demonstrated within the workspace. So if it's a 95% probability that students understand and correctly execute the skill, they're given a rating of proficient. If they're near proficient, that means the student has a probability somewhere between 70 and 94% of understanding and correctly executing the skill. And then if the student performs with a probability of lower than 70%, then remediation is suggested. And so those workspaces will be labeled as not mastered. And it's important to convey to students that it's okay to make mistakes and utilize the supports that are within MATHia Flex. So there are hints available for each step of the problem. The workspaces start off with a step-by-step example to kind of guide students through what the problem is asking and what skills are going to be tested. So encourage students to always do the step-by-step example first, just to make sure that they understand what's being asked and how to answer the question. And also there's a built-in glossary for math vocabulary that students can access by clicking on vocabulary words that appear in blue. So when we talk about assigning content, there are two approaches to assigning content. They are assigning pre-created Cal unit bundles that we'll talk about in a second, and those are in the roadmap. And so you can just pick the unit that aligns with what you're teaching, and that allows students to work through a set group of workspaces at their own pace. And then the other option is to assign individual workspaces. And so we don't recommend this at the beginning, but maybe later on as you get more familiar with the platform and as you see maybe there are some students who need a little differentiation or supplemental things, you can kind of assign workspaces individually. Okay, so let's look at the Cal roadmap and talk about how that relates to the content that you'll be assigning in MATHia. So the Cal roadmap is broken down into units. And so for each unit, you can see here we're looking at unit 1, which is area and surface area. So on the left hand side, you're going to have a breakdown of the Common Core standards that are covered in that unit. And then moving to the right, you'll see first the bundle name. And so this is what you'll use to search in MATHia. It'll give you the bundle pacing, which tells you approximately how long it'll take students to work through that particular bundle. And then it's going to give you a breakdown of what all workspaces are included in the bundle, a short description of those, what Common Core standards are covered within each workspace, the type of workspace, and then the individual pacing for that workspace. So in Unit 4, it's broken down into a group of 4 bundles. And so I'm going to show you how to find and assign this content within MATHia. So once you've identified the unit that you want, the bundle that you want. So we're going to do Cal Unit A for now. You're going to log into MATHia. This is your dashboard, and you want to go to the content library. So the content library is where you're going to find all of your MATHia content. So just to kind of orient you to the content library, at the top there's a search bar. So we're going to use that to search for the Cal bundle in a second. But I want to call your attention to some of these filters that are available here. Um, so a couple of things, a couple of ways you can filter the material is by level. So we're gonna do sixth grade because we know that we're looking at sixth grade standards. If you want to broaden your search, you can, but I find it helpful to search by grade level. And if you're using the roadmap, you can search by grade level to find that. And then for authored by, you're gonna want to select teachers within my district. Make sure that that's selected as well. Educator selected is going to bring up any custom bundles that you create later down the line. And then Carnegie Learning is just going to anything that's available by default in the platform. Okay. So with those filters in place, you see there's already some content available here, but I want to search specifically for the Cal bundles. So I'm going to search Cal unit. And so you see here it's already generating some search words. So we have unit 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So if I click on any one of these, it's going to open up a breakdown of like what's included. And so these are those three workspaces that I saw in the roadmap, the pacing, and the standards. And so I'm like, okay, yes, I want to create this bundle. So I can click assign here at the top, and that's going to put it in my assignment cart. You can assign multiple things at a time, click multiple assignments if you want to, but once you have everything you want in your cart, you just click on assign here. Okay, and so here's our unit. We're going to go ahead and assign the whole unit, so we're going to click assign down here at the bottom. And this is going to take us to the assigning window. So it's going to show you the bundle. There are options to assign content in both English and Spanish. And you can also differentiate between students if you need to and assign the content specifically to certain students in Spanish. And then you have this auto progress. And so by default, auto progress is going to be on. And so that means that students have to work through the bundle in the specific order that the assignments are listed. If you want to change the order or turn off auto progress, you can. We're going to leave that on, and then we're going to click next. And so then you want to select the classes that you want to assign content to. So I'm going to select demo class. If you expand this, you can also see specific students. So again, you can kind of differentiate specific assignments or bundles for specific students. And this is where you can have language options for each student. As well as dictating start and due date. So the start date is always going to be like the current day and time, and then the due date you can select. Usually it defaults to about a week out, and you can adjust that as you see fit. The due date, once the due date comes, it's not going to remove the assignment from the student's dashboard. They'll still have access, so you don't have to worry too much about the due date, but it does kind of help regulate the student's dashboard. So I'm going to leave this for this current date. So we'll do set, and then we'll click assign in the top corner. And so you'll see a pop up here. Your bundle has been successfully assigned. And so that's it. We've assigned the bundle. It's that easy. Okay. Now it's time for another practice activity. So when first starting MATHia Flex with your students, we recommend that you start with a bundle that is going to be reviewed for your students. So it's content that your students are already familiar with, already know, so they can really focus on getting adjusted to using MATHia, the platform itself. And then once they've completed kind of that review bundle, you can go into assigning the content that's in alignment with what you're doing in class. So for this practice activity, we're going to have you review the Cal roadmap and choose a Cal unit bundle that would be reviewed for your students, kind of something that you would assign as their first MATHia assignment. And then you're going to log into your MATHia Flex account, and then you're going to search and find that bundle in the content library and then assign it to your demo class. And if you want to, you can sign in as the demo student and kind of test it out from the student perspective. But we just want to give you an opportunity to practice finding and assigning content. So that's all for now.